The Super Media Bros podcast is a founding member of the OddPods Media Network.
Super Media Bros.
During the holiday season, he has the hardest time getting to come over here because he's doing like 6 or 7 days a week, like 12, 13 hours a day. And I'm not asking him to just, hey, you just like ran up for 13 hours. Come talk about dumb shit with me. I was like, well, screw it. I'm just going to actually make good on my word and put all my friends on our fucking show for the rest of the year. So. Welcome to the Super Media Bros podcast, where two best friends give comedically informative takes on movies, music, pro wrestling, and much more. I'm Richie, and Devin is being a slave to the grind for the holidays again. So I decided to once again bring some friends on, and I didn't plan this at all, but it is election month, and I've got a movie that has been talked about on Cult Cinema Showdown before, and we're going to reintroduce it in the Cult Cinema Saturday series. FDR, American Badass. Now, if you've heard this one before, it was on our episode versus Abraham Lincoln versus Zombies, which was a ridiculous episode, and I wanted to bring this back because the last time my guests were on here, we talked about Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and that was a hell of a fucking episode. This movie is much more dumb and like turn your brain off kind of fun. So please welcome back Tina and Hillary from the Muck Podcast. What's going on, y'all?
Hi.
How y'all doing?
Yeah, man, we're hanging in there.
We are hanging in there.
Yeah, we're trying to survive like everybody else.
Yeah.
I feel that.
We're in the Florida hellscape, so.
Yeah. I read about Florida man and like Florida man as a broad term all the fucking time.
Yes.
So
we're good with that. We're fine with Florida man, right?
Yeah. Oh, some Florida man stories are
the best.
Yeah, that's a good comic relief from all the shit that happens. For sure. Yeah. So for those of you out there that haven't heard about the Muck Podcast or are unfamiliar with what y'all do, give them a sales pitch real quick, because like it makes sense that we're having you guys on for this one.
Every time someone asks us on a podcast to talk about what we do, I'm like, humana. I don't know.
What do we do?
We are a political true crime podcast. So, American politics. Can you imagine that there's schemers and scammers involved? It's unbelievable. But we always have a lot of to talk about. So every week in the opening of the show, we talk about local politics here in Florida, but also we cover things happening nationally, which there's still so much going on. And then one of us will tell a story from the history of American politics. It could be from last year, it could be from the 1800s, and really kind of paint a picture of how history absolutely 100% repeats itself, and how we don't learn from our mistakes here in America, which is unfortunate for a lot of people. But yeah, it's been kind of an exciting few years in politics, and it's been fun to follow and devastating to live through. But, it's really important to stay informed, and we hope that people get something out of that.
Absolutely. And I fucking love what you guys do over there. It's because I like to be educated, but it's always overwhelming for me to read everything. So getting to listen to what y'all talk about is like my school for the week, every fucking week. So that's nice.
Thank you.
For sure. And I figured this would be a great relief from the bullshit that y'all have to talk about sometimes, because as y'all talk about history in American politics and how stuff repeats itself, this paints a fucking spoofed, lampooned history of Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
This was so over the top.
I told
That's
you.
An understatement.
Yeah.
It's an understatement to say that this was so over the top.
Yeah, this I was trying to explain to somebody the other day. They're like, well, how would you describe this movie? And I was just like, it's kind of like the movie Basketball, as far as like the humor just being ridiculously like just dumb. Like it is the stupidest shit ever. And then the fact that you got Barry Bostwick playing FDR, who just chews it up the whole time.
Oh my God.
That's my favorite. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I was glad that y'all seem to have liked it. Just like a little bit more than the last one. Even though the last one was pretty fucking like ridiculous and serious, this one was so much more fun.
This one was crazy for me. I was like, what am I watching?
Yeah. Oh my God.
So-
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah, so the movie opens with him as governor hunting with his friends.
Yes.
And this sets the scene for the stage, I should say, for the entire film, because the first time you hear the word fuck come out of his mouth, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is where we're going with it. And
yeah. And then it has the quote at the opening that is, badassery is not born, but often thrust upon you. And so I thought that was a fun,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what is happening in this movie?
yeah, it's always a good time whenever your main character gives the voiceover right at the front with that kind of bullshit. So the fact that they explained that his I should preface this by saying in the middle of hunting they come across a werewolf, which that is a huge tie-in for the rest of the film as well. But they also explain that this is where his polio comes from.
Yes.
his shriveled little polio legs.
Yeah, his rubbery, wiggly legs. But also, like, whoever made this movie is clearly a fan of Teen Wolf from the 80s, the Michael J. Fox version.
Yep.
Because the werewolf in the woods looks exactly like the dad
they all
in
look
Teen
like
Wolf.
that, yeah.
Like, I couldn't get over how funny that was, that he looks just like, it was almost exactly the same costume from that movie.
And then in the beginning too, it had that little, him with the Tommy gun.
Oh my God, yeah.
And it was like the Spider-Man, like
no, the Batman TV show.
That's what I meant. I wrote Batman, and I
in between
Spider-Man.
scenes, you see the Batman '60s TV show kind of spin. I loved it. I love that.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. And I don't know if anybody else out there that has seen this movie notices this in this particular scene, but whenever they are running away and the one guy falls down and he's like, "Oh, help me! I'm what do you say? I'm fat and slow." And then FDR is just like, "Oh, that's he's pretty much being like, well, that's what you get, and just being like a shit." But whenever he's being destroyed and all the blood splatters happening, it's only Roosevelt getting hit with all the blood.
Yeah.
Like, the two people right in his vicinity have nothing on him.
Or when he grabs the heart out of the other guy and he throws it and he hits somebody in the face, he goes, "Was that worth taking all that time?" He's trying to reason with the werewolf, like, was that necessary?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
it was
so much commentary with the werewolf.
Yeah.
He looked just so fucking offended.
Well, the thing that I thought was
Yeah.
funny too, that it was very political, is, he's bit by the werewolf and the werewolf is the cause of the polio, but they're kind of like covering that up, right? And then the fact that he runs for president on a werewolf campaign, I'm like, he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's using everything, as a politician would to get himself elected,
Yeah.
And it's hilarious how he decides to just say fuck it and run whenever he's in the hospital, which I should note also, his wife is played by Lynn Shay, who I fucking adore. I love her so much.
Yes. She was in the great movie Kingpin. She played the landlord in Kingpin, the filthy, disgusting landlord who wanted her vagina to be kissed a lot. So fucking funny. The second she was on there, I was like, oh my God. By the way, they were not like A-list actors, but
they were people we know.
Many people. And, not for nothing, but it kind of was filmed. It looked like something I made when I was a kid with my dad's camcorder, right? Like, it wasn't the most professional looking shot, but the actors they pulled were incredible. I mean, they all delivered on a scene. Barry Bostwick was so fucking good. I mean, you're right. He ate every scene. He played it as if he was in a Martin Scorsese film. Like, he was like, I'm getting paid for this. I'm going to bring it. Like, he was so fucking good in it.
You want to hear a fun fact about that?
Yeah.
He took this role within like a 2-day notice.
Oh my gosh.
It's like he read it and was like, I'm fucking doing this. And you can tell he was having such a blast. Everybody on that set was having a blast doing it. And that's what sells this movie. You can tell when it's just phoned in. He was treating this like it was going to be in like 1,000 goddamn theaters. Yeah.
But also had this is going to sound crazy, but he had a glimmer in his eye that he's in on the joke, right? Like, he knows that this is supposed to be funny. Yeah. He knows he's supposed to play campy and play it up. And he really did. He knew what he was there for. And he was so good in that. I was believing every second of it. I have to tell you.
Me too. Yeah, because when he's sitting in the hospital and they're telling him like, hey, like his wife's in there and they're like, hey, dude, your legs aren't gonna work anymore. And then they wheel and then they wheel the fucking kid in there.
Yeah. Yes. Oh yes. But he's so focused on his penis the whole movie.
Right.
What about my cock?
Yes.
Like, what about that?
I mean,
and then
the whole movie.
I wrote that line down. He goes, "What's everyone looking so down? Cock works." That was literally the line. Like, why are you all upset? All he cared about.
Does my cock still work?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
And he'd lift that blanket up, and his legs were like these wiggly legs. Oh my
so
God.
ridiculous!
It was so fucking funny, though. It was so funny.
Because like,
loved it.
Once the kid rolls in there and hands him his wheelchair, though, like whenever he's like, I was waiting for you, Timmy, to roll me my wheelchair.
Yeah.
So awkward.
And the kid's stuttering. He goes, "God damn it, I'm gonna have a stutter too." And they're like, no, it's just polio. He's like, "Oh, thank God." Like, I was have a stutter. I was like, Jesus Christ.
It was like ridiculous.
Yeah. But by the time they get out to that press conference, we go full Trump. Like, this guy becomes, if FDR was Trump running for office, like, that's what he literally seemed to be copying. And the movie was made in 2012, so it's not like Trump had been running for office at that point, but it really did feel like a Trump vibe of like, fuck y'all, fuck the press.
How
dare you try to fuck me? Like, it was so funny in that way, too.
The fact, too, that like the werewolves end up being you know, German and all the world leader. Like that part is like
so funny.
So ridiculous. And then that Lincoln had a similar werewolf attack. They link him to Lincoln, and I'm like, oh Lord, here we go.
So good.
Right? Like vampires and werewolves. Like he fucking first when we talked about Lincoln, he was dealing with fucking vampires, and now it's goddamn werewolves. So so FDR like pretty much like fuck the press. I'm just gonna YOLO it basically, and he fucking goes door to door across the East Coast and like the South and shit.
This part is so funny.
He visits like before we get to Cleveland, he gets to a dock worker like area, and the entire fucking dialogue is goddamn Bon Jovi's "Living on a Prayer."
Living on a Prayer. It's so good. Yeah. I mean, a couple lines in, I was like, wait a minute, I karaoke'd this song for sure. I know this song. This is so good. I wrote down "Living on a Prayer." But by the way, the whole movie, like this writer, by the way, I looked it up. He's born like 1977. So he's like my kin. Yeah. Like this kid, I think hanging out with this writer would be so much fun. He also plays, I think he plays the character that in the South, right? The husband.
The repubes.
Yeah, the repubes. Yeah. I think this guy would be so much fun to hang out with. Yeah. And the references, and also scattered throughout, which I'm sure we'll get to, are like lyrics from rap songs, which isn't my strongest suit when it comes to music, but I recognized a ton of them. And I was like, this kid, he's got music references. Yeah. I just thought he would be so much fun to be friends with.
It was a lot of fun. And that whole thing with the repubes was so funny. I was like, oh, can we please call them that?
Yeah.
We're gonna always and forever now.
It's
over.
Just cracked me up. He's like, it was on, but no, it says it's official. It was typed out, double spaced even, professionally. Yeah. It's like, I am a repube. And he's like, I think you mean repub, like Republicans. Yeah. And he's like, no, repube. I'm like, yes, you are. Yeah. Yes, you are.
You are a pube. And then the thing with his cousin / wife that he just offers up to the men, you know? Like,
God, like the whole fucking time that they're at this Georgia house.
Oh, that dinner. Oh my God.
Dude, fucking George, the guy that comes out with the chalkboard and shit.
Yeah.
Like that whole, like the way that they do all the stuff, I should point out, like the way that they actually tackle a lot of the real life issues that are happening like around this time. It's very like it's smartly done. Actually, it's very very well done, and the way they do the humor is not necessarily like demeaning. It's more or less like everybody is in on it and they fucking know what's happening, and they're just like, no, we're gonna basically give the middle finger without actually showing you the middle finger.
Yeah. So good. When even the little like the clip of, which was right before we left the South, where they showed George just playing with the basketball.
Oh yeah,
was so out of place.
Yeah, just randomly happens.
Hilarious.
That's after like the hot tubs.
Yeah.
A hot tub.
But
scene.
just even that thrown in, like this. I don't even know if this is supposed to be here, but it's so. I was still laughing the whole time they were showing it. I'm like, why is this here? It's so funny though.
Well,
it's very random.
Because at the dinner table, whenever they're sitting there, there's like, isn't that a little racist? And he's just like, no, like they took me in and they're giving me food and they taught me how to fucking spell and speak and all this shit. And he's like, now if you excuse me, I'll be out in the back playing basketball. Like just real like, and then when they show him, he's going like full globetrotter the whole fucking time. And it's so great.
The thing with the arms.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a story that Cleavon tells whenever he and FDR actually go to their hot tub, which cracks me the fuck up when he's talking about how he's at this camp and like he once had killed a werewolf. And just the quote that he fucking says where he's like, I pulled out a small sterling silver cheese knife I keep tucked inside my pants at all time. And I killed that son of a bitch dead on the spot. And then the quote that he's actually saying in the flashback is like, that was unnecessary and now you are dead, sir. What the fuck?
Oh my God. So funny. I wrote that line down about the cheese knife. It's so good.
That is actually a clip on YouTube somewhere. Like that has made its rounds by itself. Like with no context. And you don't need it. It's fucking hilarious. When they're going to leave, it's like by the time they're leaving this place, like they have befriended each other, like to the point that Cleavon is crying at the car, being like,
and then he offers the wife up again. Yeah. He's like, I'll get, she'll get you all the votes. I'll send her out to get those votes.
Is like so over the top and long, and even Barry Bostwick, you could tell, was cracking up, like he couldn't keep the face, and again, he just kept going and kept going and kept going with the crying, and finally they were like, okay. Like, he was like, the drool was coming out. Oh my God. It was so funny.
I'll go door to door. We'll suck as many dicks as it takes to get you to the state of Georgia.
So I was like, Jesus, this woman.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, at this point, the repubes in 2023 might have to go door to door to start sucking dick. I mean, for votes at this point. I mean,
these damn repubes.
Yeah. Repubes.
These are repubes.
Repubes.
Oh my God. And then the other thing I thought was funny is the wife is always with like the longest like thing that she's knitting.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just random, but like there's no, it doesn't look pretty. Like she's just sitting there.
Never ending quilt.
Yeah. And he doesn't do the fireside chats yet, but the whole scene of when he gets elected with the son.
Wait. Are we there yet?
Are we there yet?
Yeah, that's the next scene. That's the next scene. Yeah.
And the
when
vase.
He wins.
Yeah, because like
comes in, I'm like, what is happening?
They're pouring milk and candy all over themselves and like ripping their shirts off, and the son just takes a shit in a vase.
Takes a dump in this vase. I'm like, why?
It's utter debauchery. But that's like, there are a couple scenes like that where they just go very long and then just like keep the camera rolling. Yeah. That was one of them. The guy crying. Then there's another scene with the mustard and ketchup later on. Yeah. Like they just keep going and going and going, and the absurdity level just rises with each scene. And I have to tell you, watching it, you don't see movies like this all the time anymore. And so I really appreciated the fact that it's like, we are going to do whatever we want and we don't care. And that's what I felt about those scenes. It's just like, this guy's out of his fucking mind. And he's just like, you guys go crazy. And this kid comes in and shits in a vase, which comes up again later. I mean, I even actually looked up James Roosevelt, because he did have a son named James, which is the character's name. Yeah. And I was like, did this guy shit in jars somewhere that I don't know about? Like, is there a rumor or something? Which I couldn't find anything, but I was like, is this a real thing that happened?
It was, the movie is like, the airplane, when I grew up, it was like, the Naked Gun. I used to love Naked Gun.
Same.
And it just feels like a Naked Gun airplane, but like times 100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it goes well further than what those movies ever did.
Yeah, for sure. And I was laughing my ass off when the Secret Service agent did bust him, because he's just like, what the fuck? I'm just kidding. Woodrow Wilson did the same shit when he was elected.
Woodrow Wilson.
And, oh my God.
Yeah. And you know what though? James was like shitting in jars and everything. I gotta say, he did it long before you could sell farts in a jar on the internet for money. So I'm just saying. he got the literal drop on everybody. So.
Oh my God.
And so we move forward to Werewolf Hitler and the werewolf leaders of every country in the world just calling each other, and the running gag of everybody shooting their phone operators for no fucking reason.
I have the scene with the scene with these leaders were my favorite. When they call,
when they're on the phone and they have like
on the three-way call, and he goes, I'm sorry, maybe this is racist, I don't know, but it was like he goes, "Hello," like that. I had to pause because I was laughing so fucking hard. And then they start making fun of sake, and they're like, "This is for women and gay men." Like I was fucking dying. Also, I'm sorry, Tina, but Mussolini eat with the plate of spaghetti in front of him. I mean, it was just
all
like every
stereotype
that was perfected. I loved every second of it.
The guy that played the Japanese ambassador, though, was actually Japanese, too. So, like, that was the smart way to fucking do it. Because the dude sounded like, if you've ever seen Team America, he sounds like Kim Jong-il. Like, it sounds like Trey Parker doing a Kim Jong-il impression the whole fucking time. In fact, at first, I thought it was Trey Parker when I first saw this. I was like, there's no way this is not. So
yeah, it sounded so good. And even like they come up with this plan of how they're going to poison make everybody werewolves.
Yeah.
And then they later on go, there was all this wine that they drank or whatever. It's like, oh, nobody touched the sake, which was so, they're like, of course not. Like, it was so funny. It was so funny the way they would bring these jokes back around. And I thought it was just brilliant writing. It's insane how stupid brilliant it was.
The fucking note that FDR leaves in one of the shipments to Japan where he's like, "Don't bring this pussy shit over to our country."
Yes.
Yeah, this ultra toxic masculinity that was happening.
Oh my God.
With this guy.
It was so over the top.
But also, I think that's really how they were then. You know, like the women were always like there's a couple times when the women would speak up and they're like, "Oh, be seen, not heard." And I was like, that's fucking real. That's real.
Yeah. And I like the tie-in with like prohibition and like the whole connection to like the whole werewolves and
oh my God.
Yeah, like
werewolf spit's the best.
Yeah,
like the moonshine and
the plot was very, very well crafted, honestly. Like, for as stupid as this movie is, the plot itself is like, okay, if this weren't like FDR or like presidentially based, you could put this in any like comedy and it would work still. But the fact that all these people are involved, it's even funnier. We get the fucking Delito freestyle, as he would call it.
Yeah, the Delito.
Which is funny as hell. He's just like, "Oh, how can I speak to the people?" And they're like, "Oh, give a press conference." And he's like, "No, I want we got a radio in here. Can you rig that up?" And George is like, "Yeah, I'm black. I got this." And he's like, "Yep, hook it up." So great.
Oh my God.
And
he scratches that record.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, by accident completely. He's like, no, keep doing that. I like that. So keep that beat going. And every time he speaks to his people, like FDR says, "I'm freestyling." I was just freestyling. That's like a whole ass joke that runs through the rest of the movie too.
Freestyling those fireside chats.
The fireside chats, yeah.
Oh my God.
So funny.
And they do this is where they find out where all the beer is getting like bootlegged into like colleges and like all these places, and people are quote wolfing out because they're being poisoned. And he's like, I can't remember this guy has been in like several like mobster movies. I think his name is like Rabe something. I know he's been in, like Sopranos and shit like that. I'm pretty sure he has. And he's playing one of the army generals, and he's talking with FDR. And he's like, "Yeah, so here's like this lager has, been poisoned, and they're doing this, all the alcohol." And he's like, "Well, what did you do to everybody that wolfed out?" He's like, "We killed him." And is that illegal? We're the United States government. Anything is legal. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I wrote that down.
Which is true.
Yeah, he was fuck yeah. They're so excited about it. They're not even going to hide it. They're just so excited that they can kill people and that nobody's going to give a fuck.
No one's going to care.
Yeah, it's the greatest. But that's also, I think it's the name. I think the character's name, I think it's McCarthy is the general that's in that room with them. But this is when we get the chair reveal at this point, right?
Yes.
This new chair, which
is the motorcycle of death.
Beyond, like, it's beyond beautiful. This chair,
the Delino 2000.
Yes, the machine gun chair. No, it's not the motorcycle death. That's later. It's the machine gun chair. And it's all.
It's so ridiculous too, because when you look on the back of it, how it says like the Delino 2000, and it's not even like they budgeted this out for this chair. They just were like, "Hey, can you guys go to like a Lowe's and grab the mailbox stickers, and we're just gonna put it on the back," because that's what it was. It's like the stickers you stick on your mailbox, and they just like put it on there. It's so stupid.
I know. It was very low budget, but that's okay. We made up for it with his performances.
Yes.
I mean, they were fucking beautiful. But it had 2 rocket launchers, and then also I didn't write down the number, but it had all these. It was of course provided with silver bullets because we had to shoot these motherfuckers.
And he's like floating
bullets,
in the air.
Oh my God, forget it. It's so good. It's
Yeah.
so good. When he finally goes to shoot these guys,
Yeah, and he's
it's
like,
the best.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, he shows up to this this vineyard shipyard or whatever,
Yeah.
and like they have the 3 Italian werewolves like just loading this fucker up, and they get blown. Well, 2 of them get blown to shit, and then I mean, eventually the whole place gets blown up, and is a really shitty like he's rolling away from the explosion. It's very Michael Bay.
Yeah. It's so fucking good. And even like when they're talking before he rolls up, you see these 3 guys talking, and it could have been a scene in Goodfellas. You know what I mean? Like one of these warehouse scenes with the mobs. Like that's how it was set up. Like they're mobsters in front of these crates of vino. Vino was written on all the crates, which was so fucking funny too. And he starts blowing that when he shoots the rockets at them. Oh my God. It's so good. So good.
I love whenever they're talking to like the main Italian werewolf, and they're like, well, what happened? He's like, I don't know. He rolled up in some kind of wheel fucking chair. Like the way it was just so great. I'm a sucker for any like overdone Italian accent because it's funny when they're pissed. It's the funniest shit ever.
Yeah.
Some kind of wheel fucking chair.
So the scene where he gets this chair is where he says a line from I think it was that Warren G song, The Regulator. I was playing, because then the guy Lewis goes, regulators, and Lewis goes, mount up, and I was like, oh shit. So good.
So it's also another gag throughout the movie that Eleanor is wanting to leave him at various points, but doesn't. And so FDR is having like, if you want to call them affairs with like other people. And so his new secretary, it's the scene where you find out she's got a leg fetish because of like the legs resembling hot dogs.
And that's when the wife walks in, right?
But I think it's more a hot dog fetish.
She walk into the office.
Yeah, but I think it's more a hot dog fetish.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like it's based on her love of hot dogs and shit. And she's like spraying ketchup and mustard all over his legs and fucking licking them.
But that scene, if you think about how bizarre it is, that these 2 actors even, like, what was the direction they were given even? Like, just do this and pretend like you're having an orgasm, because that's really what it was like building up to, is that she was going to have an orgasm. And so it was the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my life. And it
so
was
over the top.
Beautiful. It was beautiful. I was so happy. I mean, I could have watched that all day, because there comes a point when you're watching something and you're like, okay, it's going to end in like the next 10 seconds, right? And it just goes on and on and on to where it goes from like, this is weird to like, okay, it's kind of funny, to uncomfortable to like fucking hilarious. Like it goes on for at least 2 minutes. And and these legs are like, I don't know how to describe them. They look like rubber legs and they're just wobbly.
Yes.
And she's rubbing
creepy.
And she's rubbing her body, and he's into it. He's getting hard from it. But like the whole thing was dumb comedy like this needs to exist everywhere. Like, I don't know. We need to have a screening of this movie. This needs to be like, okay, Barry Bostwick was known for Rocky Horror Picture Show. He played Brad in Rocky Horror Picture Show. So I very much got like the professor vibes, right? The vibes of Rocky Horror. There's a character who narrates it, who's this professor. It was very much that, to where I thought this could be one of those movies of like a Rocky Horror Picture Show where people show up and like do things during certain scenes. And this is like one of them where someone could go up and as it's playing on the screen, like act it out in front of you, because it's so funny. It's iconic. This is an iconic scene in cinema.
No, really, it's fucking hilarious. Like, this is probably one of the funniest, quote, sex scenes in a spoof that I've ever watched.
It was a little too, like, it creeped me out.
I mean, I guess, but also I'd like to really preface this that I was not high when I watched this movie. So if I was high watching it, I'd probably be peeing my pants the whole time. It was so stupid funny. And then the wife, Eleanor, walks in and sees this, and she says the greatest line ever. I wrote it down. She said, Eleanor Roosevelt's going to have to strong arm a hoe. That's what she said as she walked in, and like bitch slaps this girl. Yes. It was so
that part was funny.
You
knew the wife was going to be coming in.
She smacked her so fucking hard that bitch said she fell the fuck over, man. She fell the fuck over too.
Oh my God, it was so good. It was so good.
She busts her ass again when she's running out the room. I hadn't noticed it the first like couple times that I'd ever watched this movie. Like, not even the last time whenever we talked about it like years ago. And I was like, she fucking fell again. Like, goddamn.
Yeah. It's so fucking funny. Yeah.
That's so great. The Eleanor Roosevelt's gonna have to strong arm her hoe. That's one of the greatest lines I've ever fucking heard in my life.
But I think Truman at some point walks in at this point and he says, I think this is the line or this is the scene where he walks in and he says, hot dog eating contest that has gone awry or gone wrong. That's what he says. Yeah. He describes this scene.
God. And so, and this leads. I think this is where it leads directly into him asking George, he's like, well, what do I do? Because they're about to go to war and shit.
Yeah, and then we go into the start of World War II.
Yeah.
And the werewolves are all upset.
Yeah.
They're like mad and
oh god, this is so stupid.
More murdering of the phone operators and shit.
And the titties come out. Now we get to see boobs throughout the rest of the movie.
Tasteful boobs at that. It's kind of funny, actually. Like, it's a little over the top and you don't expect it, but it's just like, okay, I see what the humor is here.
We got belly button shots. FDR's doing belly button shots off a girl on a bar, which was hilarious.
As she comes up.
He's out of control. He's out of control. Yeah.
The fucking thumbs up. That shit. So dumb.
Oh my God.
This is where he asks George for help, though. He's like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's just like third drawer bottom right.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the whole Lincoln.
Yeah. Now we're high.
What is it? He smokes one of George Washington's blunts.
Yeah. Yes.
He winds up seeing Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. He has the whole like hallucination sequence.
Because he comes out of one of the pictures. He just shows up next to his desk and he's like,
and they're laying down. Aren't they laying down on the ground? Like, just like, he's like, oh, how did you handle this? Like, didn't this happen to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're on the roof, like, smoking together and shit.
Yeah,
just like, I was cracking the fuck up. He was like, yeah, I was there. He was like, yeah, Washington was there for me when I needed him. Now I'm going to be here for you when you need it. And he's talking about how, like, Obama's going to need the same fucking help and all this other shit. And he's like, sitting there, he's like, yeah, he's like, well, it's a damn shame you had your brains blown out. He's like, yeah, Mary Todd had to go to that play, fucking bitch.
Always blaming the wife.
Yeah.
It's always the woman's
to
fault.
The theater.
Yeah.
I should point out that Lincoln is played by notorious piece of shit Kevin Sorbo in this, which I was disappointed because I'm like, why is it good? And this dude's a dick. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm never going to have Kevin Sorbo on this show. I'm never going to seek out an interview with Kevin Sorbo. So I'm going to sit here and be like, fuck Kevin Sorbo for real. Yeah. Like, the dude's a dick. But the fact that he was in this and was good, I was like, oh, fuck. Why? Why was it good? But
it's that, I mean, he's not on a Woody Allen like level of people we love, but definitely like one of those times where we talk about this all the time, separating the art from the artist, and like that he's so good in this movie, but he's completely out of his fucking mind, you know?
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it sucked. I noticed it was him too, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah.
Now, had he lost his mind by 2012, or was it later on? Like, I feel like he got Trumpy around the Trumpy time, you know?
It was post.
I feel like that's.
It was post this film, which again, but I did laugh though because he's sitting there, he's like, "You want to see something really cool? I can fucking fly!"
Oh my god! Then he drops him, and he's like, was the eagle's name Justice? That cartoon eagle?
Yeah.
He's like, "Let Justice grab you, grab Justice's wing," and then
I can't. I'm too heavy.
I'm just floating through space.
Yeah,
that whole thing was. It's just like I said. I liked it, but it was like campy overdrive for me. Like, I was like, Jesus, what is going on? And by this point, it's like all like it's just
at this
cuckoo
point
for Cocoa Puffs.
Yeah, it was very. There's a point in the movie where you finally go, all right, how much longer is this going to go on? Like you thought, like I think that because it is so campy and so over the top, like it shouldn't be as long as it was or something. Like there came a point where I was like, when is this going to get wrapped up? Because
but then
it's just like, what else is like the Lincoln thing probably maybe didn't need to be there.
But then it moves into that motorcycle of death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's a line I want to point out though, where they're still in the sky, which I thought was fucking like hell. Like to me, I was just like, that was completely out of nowhere, but goddamn, was it a good one? They're flying, like Lincoln's flying him over in his wheelchair, and he's just like, "Hey, look at!" He's like, "There's my monument down there," and FDR just kind of looks at it, and he goes, "Oh man, is there going to be a statue like that for me?" Nah, but they're going to name like 1,000 high schools after you.
Yeah, that's cool. All right.
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Oh my god!
But yeah, this is the motorcycle of death spot.
Yeah.
Like close to the we're nearing the end of the movie finally.
Hi, I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
And we host the Muck Podcast, where we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics.
Hey, Tina, did you know that Elvis crashed the Nixon White House for the sole purpose of getting a DEA badge, and it worked?
What? Or how a gun control advocate senator out of California engaged in gun trafficking with notorious gang leader Shrimp Boy?
Shrimp Boy, I remember him. Okay, so, we cover all of that and more from maladies, madness, mischief, and murder in U.S. politics.
And we also host a bi-weekly interview segment called Lil Muck.
We interview politicians, journalists, activists, and others who share their experiences in politics.
Find the Muck Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and check us out on social media at the Muck Podcast.
Was Lou is his friend, right?
Yeah.
Right, Lou. And that actor's been in so many things, and his name is escaping me, but he's been in iconic movies.
Mm-hmm.
But it was funny during that whole thing where he tells Lou, and you think it's going to be like, take care of my wife or my family. And he's like, take care of my mistress if anything happens to me. That's what he's worried about. Like, make sure the mistress is okay, but nobody else. And it just ties into like this whole sort of BDE kind of presence that they've shaped this character, which, to go back to your earlier point, in politics, like, it's this idea, like, they're so consumed with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it highlights like that aspect of politics and politicians that just think that they can do and say and act however they want to act.
Right.
And there's such that toxic male energy coming from him, which I think is deliberate, like, to highlight the ridiculousness of it. But I thought that was funny. He's like, take care of my mistress. And was like, okay.
Yeah, there's a key to the presidential suite under the doormat, and change the sheets first. What the fuck, dude? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they really wanted to paint a bad picture of this guy. I mean, it was not good, not pretty. Oh, yeah.
Nah, but at the end, like, whenever he goes into his own fighter jet to go and like pretty much just take out Hitler and the rest of the people, I was like, this is fucking hilarious. How he's just behind a bunch of sandbags, just shooting this tiny ass machine gun at him.
And then Eleanor at home is like drinking because she doesn't know what the hell's going on, and she's just like,
she thinks he's gonna die.
Yeah, and she just keeps drinking and drinking. I'm like, what is happening? Because like she hates him, but she's worried he's gonna die.
But what about the great scene where Mussolini is shot up and then he starts to die, and his last words is like, I was going to start a restaurant. That's my Italian. It's not good. I was going to make a chain of restaurants in America called Olive Garden. And when you're there, you feel like family. Like, the guy who wrote this movie is so fucking funny, dude. Yeah. I mean, who thinks to include the Olive Garden line in there? I mean, he's like a weird genius, like one of these weird geniuses. Oh my God, I just thought that was so funny. And I thought Tina would definitely be like offended by that. I like Tina
when you're here, your family. No, but it's good because it just highlights, again, like the stereotypes of Italian and like what is like the biggest sort of worst example of Italian food ever is the Olive Garden. Like it's like it's the furthest thing from it. So I think that's perfect too.
Right on.
Oh God, so good.
Yeah, that did me in watching this movie the first time. I was like, is he fucking like? Because first I'm like, oh, Bon Jovi lyrics, and then like several other things, and then when it gets here, I'm like, Olive Garden. Oh, all right, that's great. Fucking keep it up. I thought I was done with this movie a half hour ago. Keep going, please.
Yeah, he gets in that final fireside chat where he's like, doesn't he say like, it's FDR, motherfucker? Like, right? Isn't that how he closes it?
Yeah, Lewis.
Something like that.
Yeah, Lewis is like,
he's like, oh no, it's FDR, motherfucker.
Yeah,
like,
it's Franklin Delano Roosevelt, motherfucker. Yeah. Like, it's so great because he blows up Hitler and like all these other sons of bitches, and they think he's dead. And like on the radio, they're like, oh, it's been 16 days since we last heard from Franklin Roosevelt, and he just rolls in all. He rolls in. He's like, you know how hard it is to wheel through sand?
He's like war torn.
You know how hard it is to wheel through sand? Shit, dude.
Oh, I loved it when he said that he's a burnt honky with the side of polio.
Yep.
I was like, what? What?
Y'all, I forgot that Cleveland stowed away on his fucking plane and dove out with him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he didn't have a parachute at all. And he just sits there. He's like, oh, oh, I don't have a parachute. And FDR's just like, huh? Just real like, okay, whatever about it. And dude just,
This guy's over here sucking dick for you to get votes. Don't you care that he doesn't have a parachute? What the hell, man?
nope.
He don't care.
No, doesn't care.
Doesn't care.
Oh my God, so good.
The way
So
he's
good.
the way he speedily like just falls down off the screen is so fucking Looney Tunes. It's not even funny. But yeah,
so good.
yeah, the movie ends, I guess, on a quote happy note where he's addressing the nation, and then Eleanor's sitting there telling him that she's gonna ride him like a free pony at the state fair.
I know. I was like, wait a minute, because it's, you know, you never really know how she, at least you know, she didn't seem to really, you know, be so into him. You know what I mean?
She wasn't affectionate at all.
Yeah. And so I thought that was interesting at the end. Maybe it was all the booze.
Yeah, well, after the
All
hot
the booze
dog
at the
like
end.
orgasm scene, he goes into her and he's like, "What do you expect from me? You sleep in a separate bedroom or whatever." And then he goes, "You're always tending to the children, and all children are grown. I mean, 5 grown children."
Right? He's like, I have a nation to tend to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She's
she's
like-
scared of those wiggly legs. Like she's
Ugh.
scared of those legs.
I
That
know.
whole thing was so crazy
I
when they
know.
first showed those legs. My God.
But there's something about a movie that can still, I mean, I know this is like 11 years ago now, but still there's something about like there should always be a part. Well, Richie, you would agree with this, I'm sure. This is the movies you watch, but like there should always be a place in Hollywood for like someone to write a script like this and somehow scrounge enough money together to make the silliest shit you've ever seen. Like it's brilliant. I think it's brilliantly written. It's so fucking like there's details that are so good, and the film itself doesn't look like very polished. And even the scenes when you're looking at the background or like the sets of where they are, it's like, all right, they cobbled this thing together, but it still works. Like they can sell it. The actors are giving these performances I thought were fantastic. Like we need this sort of do it yourself.
Yes,
like, fun,
it felt very
funny
It felt
movies.
very DIY.
Yeah.
But then I was like, is this deliberate? Like, are they deliberately making it,
maybe.
you know, look unpolished? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Because that was kind of the funny parts about it, like especially like the war scenes and him flying in and the parachuting, like to have it look so, you know, homemade.
Yeah.
Kind of makes it a little funnier.
And the werewolf in the woods definitely looked like the one from Teen
Oh
Wolf,
my
but
God,
the makeup on the other werewolves was fantastic. The Mussolini, Hirohito, and what's his name? Hitler. Old what's his name? Hitler.
Yeah.
That makeup all looked good.
I forgot about a scene whenever Lewis is first finding out about the werewolf existence and the coroner takes him in there. I totally forgot about the scene where he's like, I need to show you something. And he walks in there and he's like, this is what I wanted to show you. And it's a fucking corpse with a squirrel jammed up its ass. And he's like, what the fuck, bro? Oh, that's not the one. Hang on. This is the one I wanted to show.
There's another funny scene when they're leaving the hospital and he says, you know, Eleanor, you're gonna have to sit on FDR's lap. She goes, I don't want to sit, but you're gonna have to. There's a werewolf in the trunk. I was like, oh shit. There's a werewolf in the trunk. Oh my God. So good.
Right? And to y'all's point, like honestly, I enjoy championing movies that are like this, where you have, you know, I don't know, this movie probably cost about $100,000 to make. Really, in seriousness, it probably cost about $100,000 to make, and nothing but love for filmmaking. Period. Because to purposely put something like this out, where you know it's supposed to be bad, you know, quote bad, you know it's supposed to be bad, but it's fucking hilarious, and you got a team of actors that are going to deliver this script better than you thought it was going to be delivered. And that's what makes these movies is the performances. Because I can look past, I've seen enough shit in my life where you can look past special effects, you can look past shitty CG, you can look past certain shitty actors. Like The Room is a prime example of the opposite of this, where
right.
The Room had like a multi-million-dollar budget, had the most high-end fucking cameras, was made 10 years before this one, and is probably the best bad movie that exists because of the acting quote in it. But the rest of the movie, it looks good, but it's what is it? This movie looks like shit, but it's fucking hilarious because of course they purposely have done, you know, the cheesy effects. I think that was a hallmark of, at the time, for those of you out there that have, visited like the old website Newgrounds, where flash animation was a thing that was purposely done as like really shitty clip art comedy, on internet culture. So that kind of carried over into some of the comedy from that era. So that was very much a purposely done thing where it's like, hey, we know what this is. You're gonna know what this is. So like, enjoy it. Why fucking hide it? If you don't hide it and you're in on the joke, it's gonna land better.
So true.
I'm so glad y'all enjoyed this movie as much as y'all did, honestly. Because I was sitting there like, oh, fuck.
I really did not know what to expect. Except when it opened and you saw him, the very first thing you see him is in that chair. Yeah. And he's screaming and he's shooting the guns and he's got, I also love the cigarette in the long cigarette holder. Like it was constantly, it was like another character in the show. It was constantly just like almost hitting people. And oh my God, so good.
I mean, it's definitely one of those like so bad it's good.
Yeah.
That's why I gave y'all nothing. I was like, all right.
No, I did not know what to expect.
I didn't want to give you anything to expect.
And it was very different from the Vampire Hunter.
I was just going to say that.
Because the Vampire Hunter, I think, took itself a little more seriously,
definitely.
And this didn't at all. And so it's just interesting to see, that perspective. And I love the idea of taking moments of history and just making it ridiculous. It's like when I forget who the author was, but there was an author that was doing like Jane Eyre and zombies, and like there was a whole era of that.
Yeah.
And so it kind of gave that vibe too of just like, let's just take this thing that everybody knows, and we know about the polio, we know about his work during the war and all of that, and let's just completely make it as ridiculous as possible.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish more shit like this was around, just in general. It's one of my favorite styles of comedy. I like all kinds of movies. I keep bringing basketball up, but that's really like absurd, dumb visual humor and puns and wordplay. Like all that shit really hits when you know what you're doing. And I think this movie's a prime example. So, and it's free on YouTube. If anybody out there wants to watch this, it is 100% free to watch on YouTube. So to cap this off, would you show this to anybody that you know that you think would appreciate this movie, honestly?
I've already texted someone and said, we're watching this together. I said to him, we're watching it together. I was halfway through it. I'm like, no, we're doing this. I'm adding it to our movie list. Like, that's it. Because it's so funny.
Good.
I think my husband, he's hit or miss with some stuff like this. So I would be curious to see like what he thought of it.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's absolutely a fun movie. It's a good, honestly, it's a good icebreaker. Like this is a good icebreaker movie if you're trying to like gauge somebody's sense of humor.
Yeah.
I love movies like that. I think UHF is another one of those movies. There's
UHF.
I really like to see who is into what kind of comedy, and a lot of this shit's in my wheelhouse regardless. I watch everything. I really fucking do. Yeah. But yeah, this when I first saw this, I showed it to anybody that was in earshot. I was like, hey, fucking watch this. I was like, if you can't watch it with me, here's a fucking YouTube link. Go watch it. And then they would text me like, dude, this is hilarious. I'm like, I know it is.
So you're super into movies. Do you get on like the Oscar train? Like, would you go to the movie theater and want to watch movies that are nominated or like that are renowned, like current things? Or do you only like this like B style movie? Like, are you into like, would you see an Oppenheimer? Would you go see a Barbie? Are you like into that?
I have seen Barbie. I saw Barbie at a drive-in theater and I saw Oppenheimer recently. I fucking loved it. I think that's Nolan's best work, honestly. And I've seen a ton of films that were nominated. Like I saw No Country for Old Men in theaters. I saw There Will Be Blood in theaters, which is one of my favorite fucking movies, honestly.
So There Will Be Blood is so good.
Yeah.
Oh, bruh.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I watch everything. I really do. Like when I say I watch everything, I really mean it. I watch everything that has won Oscars to movies that were never considered for Oscars to bullshit like this and everything in between. I fucking love cinema. Like that is my thing. I love cinema.
Yeah. Okay, cool. You know what I watched again recently? Last weekend was Joker, the new one with.
That's good.
With what's his name? What's that?
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix.
How tense you are, and how tense that movie is the entire time.
It's so gritty.
It reminds me of There Will Be Blood, where you're just like, fucking, what's this guy gonna do? Every second, you're like, what's happening? And that's how I feel. Like There Will Be Blood. I've probably watched twice. I don't know if I could watch it again. It is so
It's taxing.
He's insane. Daniel, what's his name?
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis is fucking insane in that movie. So good.
Anybody?
I love Daniel Day.
Yeah,
me too.
I was gonna say anybody out there would love Gangs of New York.
Oh, yes. I love Gangs in New York. My Daniel Day-Lewis, though, of course. I want to, Richie, do you think you could guess like one of my favorite performances from Daniel Day-Lewis?
Oh man. Okay, so I'm not gonna. I don't want to say Lincoln because I thought that was fucking fantastic. Actually,
no, just think of me as the literary nerd that I am.
Was he in Pride and Prejudice? Oh, The Crucible.
Oh my god.
So you guys don't remember him in The
Winona
Crucible?
Ryder?
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys don't remember him in The Crucible? Tell you, he plays John Proctor.
I maybe saw that when it was out. It's been, Tina, it's been like 20 years. It's got to be longer than that.
He's like, leave me my name.
Oh my God.
Because I cannot have another in my life because I lie and sign my name to lies.
Oh my God. Oh my God. That was the equivalent of you singing on the podcast.
Oh my God. I love him in The Crucible.
It's wild how much shit that
his
dude
teeth
has
are so
in.
gross in it though.
Oh, yeah.
Because when he's kept in that and then they show him at the end and it's just like, I've seen that movie. I know all the lines to that movie. It's so good. And I love the play. And I just thought he was just so good in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Great actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And he's retired now, which is unbelievable, honestly.
Isn't that crazy?
The dude probably could have done another...
Let me see how old he is.
Could have done another 10 years of movies and like, cranked out great ones. Yeah, I thought the Joker movie, to go back to that, was great. There was a lot of Scorsese influence in that one. Like, I know it's pretty well known that Taxi Driver and the King of Comedy was another one that was really influential to it. The second one I'm looking forward to, honestly. It's going to be a full-blown musical, and it's Joaquin Phoenix and then Lady Gaga playing Harley Quinn. So
what?
Yeah,
I'm here for it.
Yeah, same. So I will watch anything, like movies. I will watch anything that's also superhero related or anything adjacent to that. I think a lot of that stuff is a little over the top, but a lot of it does also get grossly overlooked. So I was excited that Joker had won the best actor for Joaquin. I thought that was fantastic that he won that because he fucking deserved it, to be honest. A lot of those movies kind of get overlooked. Like, I thought Robert Pattinson's The Batman was the best Batman film that I've ever watched.
I haven't seen that.
I agree. My son asked me that last week. What was the best? What was your favorite Batman? I said the goth Batman, the new one. He's a goth Batman. I'm here for it. That car scene, car chase scene, bruh. Fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
I'll have
loved
to watch it. I'll have to watch movie.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yeah, Tina, you do need to watch it because if anything, and I'm not even talking about just for Pattinson's Batman, if anything, aside from Paul Dano's portrayal of the Riddler, fucking Colin Farrell as the Penguin, because he disappears completely.
I love Colin Farrell.
He disappears into that. I had to tell somebody.
I might have to do that this weekend.
Yeah. Colin Farrell, by the way, has to be I feel like he disappeared for a while making some movies. He was Hollywood's bad boy, so people kind of wrote him off. But then he quietly started to move his way back through. The Banshees of Inisherin was so good. It was slow moving, but it was wild and sick, and it was so good. And he is so good in that movie as the Penguin. So is Joker 2, the Batman 2, is he going to be coming back is it going to be about him as the Penguin? Oh, okay.
Well, it's not going to be it won't be about him. He'll be in there. There's also there's also a Max television series for the Penguin that's done or being done.
I think I heard about this.
Yeah, same universe and everything. They haven't come out and said who the actual villain in the Batman 2 is going to be, although Barry Keoghan's portrayal of the Joker will be in it at some point. And yeah, and that one's more or less looking like it's based on the New 52 run where the Joker actually has cut his own face off and has it belted back onto his face, his whole head. So it's fucking insane, actually.
Wow.
I'm here for all of this.
Yeah, no, that sounds good.
I fucking the Batman, Spider-Man's definitely my favorite superhero, but these Batman movies, they can go so dark, which is where I really believe comic books should be. I feel like they all have these tragic stories. I really feel like it should be the dark underbelly, because I love, I got into the whole Marvel thing, but it got to the point where it was a little too jokey You know, a little too much of the jokes. I'm just like, where's the stuff that's supposed to be happening here? I feel like I'm in the middle of a terrible parody of a comic book movie. I want the darkness of Batman all the time.
You ever seen Watchmen?
No,
please.
I haven't seen that yet.
Okay. If you do watch it,
read.
Yeah, if you do watch it, watch the director's cut. Yeah, it's lengthy. The graphic novel is really good. It is probably the most realistic look at what this would actually be like, and there's also a lot of social commentary on America as a whole, because this is post-Cold. It's an alternate universe where Nixon is a third reelect as president, and it's post-Cold War. So
wow,
yeah, it's very good. So
I'm here for that.
Yeah, definitely check it out. There's a lot of really good characters in it. In fact, oh shit, I can't think of his fucking name right now. Patrick Wilson plays one of the people, Night Owl 2 in the movie, and Jackie Earle Haley plays Rorschach, which those are two of the main heroes that are like a part of a team in there. And there's a lot of good character work. Papa Winchester is in that motherfucker too.
Papa Winchester.
Yeah, I love that son of a bitch.
I like that name.
Yeah, that's what I always call him anyway. So, but yeah, those are just some movies that like you guys should check out. And if anybody out there has not fucking seen, please watch everything we've mentioned. This has been a fun discussion. I would love to have y'all back on again. Hell, I would like to talk to. I would do a Watchmen episode with you guys if y'all actually.
That would be cool.
Because
that would be cool. Because I've had the graphic novel on my list as something to read, and I have a friend of mine who actually was teaching it for a while, and just had really great experiences with younger people. You know, talking through like the issues that come up, like you were talking about, like the social issues. So I've always been curious, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So that would be cool.
Yeah, it's an Alan Moore novel, and it's the same guy that's done V for Vendetta and a lot of other stuff. Alan Moore is notoriously he notoriously has a fuck you attitude towards anybody that has adapted his shit, because like, oh, you're not doing it right. And he's just he's very much a purist, but it turns out like a lot of his adaptations are pretty good. So Zack Snyder is responsible for the Watchmen film, who did an excellent job because he loves the source material. Like I will give it to people shit on him for no reason, but I think he does really good work. So
nice.
And speaking of Zack Snyder, this is a pretty good fucking tie-in for next week's episode. We are doing our 300th episode next week, and
holy cow!
Yeah, so everybody's been like, "Hey, what are you guys gonna do for your 300th episode? Are you guys gonna do like a big compilation thing? Are you guys gonna do this? Are you guys gonna do that?" No. We're going to keep it rolling like it's just another fucking episode, but we are going to cover the Frank Miller written, Zack Snyder directed 300.
Whoa!
Appropriate.
My God. It has been a minute since I've even thought about that movie.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Yeah, this is Sparta, motherfuckers. So
yeah.
Be sure to come hang out with us for that shit next week. It's going to be a fun time. Kicking motherfuckers into holes and launching arrows and fighting damn near naked but still beating your ass. I mean, the whole thing.
Somehow making it through.
You are describing life in Florida 2023 right now. I appreciate that. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
So tune in next week for 300 starring Florida man beating the shit out of everybody, making it through the state of Florida as a whole, from the tip to the ball sack of America. Tina, Hillary,
thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah, thank y'all for fucking coming and hang out with me. I love having you guys on. I love just bullshitting with y'all. Y'all are so much fun, always.
Oh, Richie, you're our favorite. We love you so much. Thank you for being in our OddPods family.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Wouldn't have it any other way, goddammit.
Same.
I'm going to plug this for you guys for sure. Like, everybody out there, please go to the muckpodcast.com and listen to them talk all kinds of informative shit, and also dunking on motherfuckers, because that is the greatest shit ever. Like, you get an education and comedy at the same fucking time. Please do it.
Thank you. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, for sure. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys again in the future. So visit supermediabrospodcast.com for past, present, and future episodes. Check out all the other shows, including the Muck Podcast, on OddPods Media by going to oddpodsmedia.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on social media. If you want to leave us a rating or review, go to do it at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, and Podchaser. Until next time, I've been Richie. Shades on. We're off.